Isn't it funny how when we think eco-conscious,
Yeah.
our minds often jump straight to like really expensive stuff?
Yeah, like solar panels, fancy electric cars.
Exactly. But what if I told you there are loads of, well, simpler shifts you can make? Things that are actually better for the planet and seriously good for your wallet.
That's spot on. That's really what we're diving into today.
Huh?
We've got this great article that's packed with practical, affordable, sustainability hacks, you could call them, for everyday life.
Yeah, no second mortgage needed, right?
Definitely not.
So we're focusing on this one core piece of writing today, and our mission really is to pull out those surprisingly easy and crucially cost-effective ways you can live a bit greener without, feeling the pinch financially.
Mm.
We know you want to get smart on this quickly, so we're going to break down the steps that, well, make the biggest difference.
And what's really compelling about this approach, I think, is how it reframes sustainability. It's not some like pie in the sky ideal. It's actually something we can all weave into our lives through small, deliberate choices. It's less about a massive overhaul and more about these thoughtful little adjustments.
Okay, let's kick things off with the basics then. The article starts with the 5 R's: rethink, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. Why are these five seen as, like, the cornerstone?
Well, think of them as a kind of hierarchy. Rethink is first, do you actually need this thing? That naturally leads you to reduce how much stuff you buy and therefore how much waste you create.
Makes sense?
Then, before you even think about recycling, which let's face it, still uses energy, you look at reusing what you've already got, maximize its life. And
Mhm.
finally, rot, that's composting. It tackles all that organic stuff, food scraps and whatnot, which is a huge chunk of household waste.
But it's not just about feeling good about helping the planet, is it? The article stresses there are real cost savings here. It uses reusing glass jars as an example. How does something that simple save money?
Fundamentally, it's about not having to buy something new. Simple as that. Instead of buying plastic containers or maybe a new vase.
You just grab a jar?
Exactly. You give a second life to something you probably already have. That immediately cuts spending on those specific items. Multiply that across a bunch of household needs and, well, the savings start to add up. Plus, you're reducing demand for new manufacturing.
Yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. Right, let's move inside the house now. Energy bills. They're a constant worry for so many people. What are some of the straightforward, budget-friendly ways the source suggests cutting down energy use at home?
Okay, so the article flags a few key wins here. Switching to LED bulbs, that's a big one.
Right, I've heard about those. They cost a bit more up front, though, don't they?
They can, yeah, slightly higher initial cost. But get this, a single LED can last as long as like 25 old school incandescent bulbs, and it uses about 80% less energy.
80%, wow.
Yeah, so think about the savings, not just on your electricity bill, but also on, not having to constantly buy new bulbs. Another smart move is using smart power strips.
Ah, yes, the smart power strips, they tackle that sneaky phantom energy drain, right?
Exactly. Even when they're turned off, lots of electronics still sip power, so they can turn back on quickly with the remote.
Uh-huh.
Smart strips just completely cut that phantom current, no power draw at all, and that leads to noticeable savings over time.
Good to know. What else can we easily do inside?
Well, sealing up drafts is surprisingly effective. Around windows, doors, just using some cheap caulk or insulation tape.
Okay.
It stops your heating escaping in winter and keeps the cool air in during summer. That directly hits your heating and cooling costs, and it's often a DIY job, really affordable.
Right.
Also, just getting into the habit of unplugging things when you're not using them. Chargers, appliances, even your phone charger counts over the long run.
That's such a simple one we probably all overlook. The article also mentioned something about free home energy audits from utility companies. That sounds useful.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely worth checking out. Many providers offer these, sometimes totally free. They'll come, pinpoint where you're losing energy, and give you personalized tips, often highlighting cost-saving things you wouldn't have thought of.
Okay, great tip. Let's
Hmm.
switch gears a bit. Water, another essential resource. How can we cut down our water use without, tearing out the bathroom?
Yeah, the article points to some really easy wins again. Installing low-flow shower heads and faucets, that's a simple swap, usually doesn't cost much, and it cuts down water use without most people even noticing a difference in pressure.
Hmm.
And fixing leaks, even tiny ones. That dripping tap, it seems minor, but it can waste gallons and gallons over time. That's literally money down the drain on your water bill.
So that annoying drip is actually costing me money.
Okay.
What about outside the house? Any
Mhm.
cost-effective water-saving tips there?
Rainwater harvesting is a great one. You can set up pretty simple rain barrels to collect water for your garden, cuts down on using treated tap water.
Right.
And another kind of cool idea is using gray water, like the water left after boiling pasta. Once it's cool, obviously, you can use that on your plants. Just make sure there's no soap or harsh stuff in it.
That's pretty resourceful. And the article hinted there might be financial help for this stuff.
Yes, definitely check with your local council or water company. They often have rebates or even give away free things like low-flow shower heads to encourage people to save water.
Worth looking into. Okay, shopping. It's easy to think buying green means expensive. But the article suggests ways to shop sustainably without breaking the bank.
Right, absolutely. Buying in bulk is a classic example. Less packaging per unit and often a lower price per item, too.
Good point.
And embracing secondhand. Clothes, furniture, books. It's not just sustainable. You can find some amazing bargains, real treasures sometimes.
Oh, definitely. What about groceries? How do we make sustainable and affordable choices there?
Prioritizing local and seasonal produce is a real win-win. It's usually fresher, often cheaper because it hasn't traveled far.
Lower carbon footprint, too.
Exactly. And keep an eye out for certifications, like Energy Star on appliances, Fair Trade on coffee or chocolate. That means fair wages for producers and USDA organic on food. They help you make informed choices, often without a huge price jump.
And there are even apps now, aren't there, to help shop smarter and cut food waste?
Yeah. Apps like Too Good To Go are brilliant. They connect you with local cafes and shops selling surplus food cheap at the end of the day.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
And Olio is great too. It's for sharing unwanted food or other items with neighbors. Fantastic way to stop stuff going to waste and save money.
This all ties in really nicely with minimalism, doesn't it? It seems like living with less is actually a very sustainable and cost-effective way to live.
It really is. Minimalism is basically about intentional consumption,
Yeah.
consciously decluttering, focusing on owning fewer high-quality things you actually need and love. That naturally cuts your environmental impact and your spending. The article mentions the 30-day rule, great for avoiding impulse buys. If you still want it after 30 days, maybe you really do need it.
That 30-day rule is a good discipline. And the point about quality over quantity really hits home. Sometimes spending a bit more upfront saves money long-term, right?
Precisely. Instead of constantly replacing cheap, flimsy stuff, you invest in something durable that cuts down waste and repeated expenses.
Okay, let's switch gears again. Getting around. Transport's a big cost and a big polluter. What are some greener, cheaper options the source highlights?
Well, several alternatives to just driving alone. Walking or biking for short trips, great for health, totally free, zero emissions.
That beat that.
Using public transport is usually way cheaper than owning and running a car. Carpooling or ride-sharing splits costs and means fewer cars on the road. And if you can, working from home, that eliminates the commute entirely.
And for households with more than one car, ditching one could mean pretty big savings, couldn't it?
Oh, huge savings. Factor in fuel, insurance, maintenance, maybe loan payments. Going down to one car can easily save thousands a year.
Wow. Okay, now who knew cleaning could be more sustainable? The article has DIY recipes for cleaning products.
It's surprisingly easy and incredibly cheap. Like an all-purpose cleaner, just vinegar, water, maybe some lemon peels for scent. Works great, natural, way cheaper than store-bought chemical stuff.
And for glass?
Simple vinegar and water solution. And for scrubbing. A paste of baking soda and water is fantastic.
And buying those basics, vinegar, baking soda in bulk, saves even more money in plastic packaging.
Exactly. It's a double win. Good for the wallet, good for the planet.
I love the idea of growing your own food, even just a little bit. Sounds satisfying, and the article says it saves money. But I always thought you needed, like, a big garden.
Not at all. You can start really small. Growing herbs on a windowsill, super easy, provides fresh flavor, and you stop buying those little plastic packs of herbs at the supermarket. They really add up.
They do.
Vertical gardens are great for small spaces or just using pots on a balcony. And composting your food scraps, that gives you amazing free fertilizer for your plants, cuts waste. You'd be surprised how much you save just growing your own basil or mint.
Fresh herbs on tap and saving money. Nice. Okay, closets. Fashion has a massive environmental footprint. What are some sustainable, budget-friendly approaches to clothes?
Well, the first step is often just buy less. Wear what you have more. Choose versatile classic pieces you can mix and match rather than chasing fast trends.
Right.
Learning basic repairs helps too. Sewing on a button, mending a small tear, it really extends the life of your clothes.
Good skill to have.
Clothing swaps. with friends or community groups. Fun, free way to refresh your wardrobe. And when you do buy new, maybe look into slow fashion brands, those focusing on ethical, sustainable production.
So it's about being more mindful, valuing longevity over those disposable trends?
Precisely. Simple mending saves money on replacements, and just wearing clothes for longer is a key part of sustainable consumption.
Okay, even our digital habits have an impact. The article talks about mindful tech use. What sort of things?
Well, like streaming video. Do you always need high definition? Streaming in standard def uses less data, less energy.
Never thought of that.
Unsubscribing from emails you don't read reduces server load. Buying refurbished electronics is a great option. Gives good tech a second life, usually cheaper.
And they often come with warranties, right?
Exactly. Takes away some of the risk. And, crucially, recycle your old gadgets properly. Don't let those harmful materials end up in landfill.
Good points. Refurbished tech is definitely worth considering.
It's a smart financial and environmental choice.
The article also talks about community power sharing, bartering. How does that fit in?
Well, things like local buy nothing groups, often on social media, are fantastic. Give away stuff you don't need, get things you do need, all for free from neighbors. Cuts waste, saves money.
Yeah, I've seen those groups.
Borrowing from libraries, too. Many now lend more than just books, tools, kitchen gadgets sometimes. Avoids everyone buying their own. And bartering services like you help someone with IT, they give you some garden veggies, meets needs without cash changing hands.
It really builds community, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Moves us away from just being consumers.
Absolutely. Strengthens local ties, encourages resourcefulness.
So ultimately, it seems like conscious consumption is about aligning spending with values. But how do we do that without getting totally overwhelmed?
The article suggests asking some key questions before buying. Who made it? What's it made of? Where did it come from? Trying to avoid those fleeting trends, focusing on stuff with long-lasting use. That's important.
Yeah.
Also, looking for B Corporations companies certified for meeting social and environmental standards can help guide your choices.
And it's crucial to remember ethical buying isn't automatically expensive buying. It's just smarter buying, right?
Exactly. Prioritizing quality, durability, ethical production over just cheap and disposable.
Finally, the article really stresses sharing what we learn about sustainability. Why is that so important?
Well, sharing your knowledge kind of reinforces your own commitment, you know? Plus, it helps normalize these practices in your community. Leading by example can be really powerful with friends and family. Getting involved locally, too. Community cleanups, workshops, volunteering with eco groups spreads awareness and builds this supportive network.
Creates a ripple effect, doesn't it?
Precisely. The more people adopting these habits, the bigger the collective impact. And sharing what you've learned might just inspire someone else to start their own journey.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels really clear that living an eco-friendly life doesn't have to mean a huge income or some massive disruptive change.
Not at all.
It really boils down to a series of, well, small, thoughtful decisions made consistently.
That's the absolute core message. From just reusing a glass jar, like we said, to switching to LEDs or growing a few herbs, these seemingly small things add up. Big environmental benefits and often, significant financial savings, too.
It's been really eye-opening, actually, seeing how many of these sustainability hacks genuinely save you money. It's a proper win-win.
Absolutely. And it's so important to remember it's a journey, not some kind of race to perfection.
Right.
Start small, pick the changes that feel easiest for you right now. Celebrate those little wins.
Yeah.
And don't beat yourself up if you slip up sometimes. Consistency over time is what matters.
So for you listening, maybe just take a moment today, think about one small, cost-effective hack we talked about, something you could realistically start doing right away. How does that simple action line up with your budget? Sure, but also with your bigger values, your well-being. Maybe check out one of those apps or look up local sharing groups. Every little bit honestly does make a difference.